I would say probably my first time on a skateboard would be when I got one for Christmas. Just kind of messed around with it, saw it as being fun, and was like, this is pretty cool. That was probably when I moved to California when I was about 13. And I saw all my friends on them. I saw everyone doing it. Everyone was good. And since I had just moved from Colorado where everyone was a skier, it was kind of almost new to see skateboarding. And I was like, yeah, let's give this a try. And I fell in love with it kind of right off the bat.
So I was fairly young when I was exposed to roller skating. Um, when I was about 3 or 4 years old, my family and we moved out from Colorado to New Jersey. And the town that we moved to, I wouldn't say it was secluded or anything like that, but there wasn't really anything for kids to do. There wasn't much for us to do to entertain ourselves within the town. And I guess my parents, they took us to this roller rink that's located about 15-20 minutes from where we lived. And while we were there, this guy managed to convince my parents to sign my brother and I up for the local speed skating team there at the rink. And we did that for a couple of years. Eventually we left the team, but we continued to go just to skate and have fun.
Yeah, that's me and him, yeah. That's me. Joey's my fucking bro. That was really awesome to get recognized out here. I don't know, it was just like a couple skateboarders over at Trocadero. We were skating and they, I noticed them just skating like downhill on their longboards, and they're not going fast at all. They're, maybe going 10 to like 25 miles an hour max, just kind of cruising, but they're having fun with it. And I went up to them and I said, hey, what's up? Like, you guys are downhill skateboarders. That's pretty dope. Let's skate. Like, I'd like to do some runs with you. And they're like, you're on a trick skateboard though, bro. Like, you're not gonna be able to like do this. I'm like, yeah, sure, whatever, bro. Let's go for it. And I was just like following him, just like throwing out like these like fat toe sides. It was funny. And like once I did 1 or 2 runs with him, they're like, okay, this kid knows what he's doing. And then I started kind of talking with him, like, yeah, I'm from California and I skateboard over there, so I've been doing this for a long time, and I live in the area where this is, a very large form of skateboarding. A lot of kids do downhill skateboarding. And I started talking about, like how we kind of make videos and kind of go for it. And I had mentioned a YouTube channel that we film with, and he kind of lit up and he goes, no way, are you Judson? Like, are you like Jud? And he couldn't say my name at first because he's French. It was funny. And I was like, yeah, dude, fuck, no way. You actually know who, like, you've seen a video of me before? Like, holy shit, like, that's so sick.
The thing about roller skating is it kind of changes the way people perceive you when they discover that you enjoy roller skating, that it's something you do in your spare time. After I rediscovered roller skating post high school, there were always those moments where I would, at the rink, I would see somebody that I knew from either school or from work, who happened to be there, just coincidentally. And I would always kind of remember the look of surprise on people's faces when they, realize that I like to roller skate. And I think part of that has to do with the fact that, even to this day, I'm not always the most talkative person. I usually tend to be more introverted than extroverted. And those moments where that look of surprise, it's usually sort of a moment of pride for me. Roller skating has always been something that I've been good at physically, and growing up there are always those individuals, who excel at basketball, at football, at whatever. And for me it was kind of roller skating. But the way that people perceive you, it isn't always for the better, I remember one time I was heading back to my apartment, and my apartment is fairly close to where I go to school. And I ran into another classmate, and we talked for a little bit, but I'll never forget the way that the expression on her face when she said, oh, and have fun roller skating. It was like, to her face and the way she said it, it implied that, it was seeing me on roller skates was the most absurd thing she'd ever seen. And, there are moments where I kind of secretly hope that, I can show off in front of my colleagues, my classmates, whatever. But then, there are moments like that where I kind of like, I want to keep it private.
Excuse me, all of you that are there, move. Is that the spot? That's the spot. Is that where everybody fucking stops?
My favorite time I've ever been like skateboarding was probably between like 15, 16, 17, and that was like my real peak of skateboarding. That's when I had people that I was able to get skateboard gear from, and like I had people that wanted to help me out skateboarding, and we were able to travel a bunch of places, and we were able to skateboard in Colorado and race in the mountains there. That's the time when all my friends were in it, so it wasn't like I had friends that didn't skateboard. It was my whole community of kids were all skateboarders. We get out of class, go skateboarding, and that was kind of our lives. And those were like the most fun times I'd have, just meeting up with the friends.
Roller skating, it's not the most easy activity to get into, suddenly you're trying to find your balance on top of these wheels, you're no longer, your feet aren't on the ground, and you're trying to figure out how to position your body and how to get your balance under control. It's hard, and it kind of takes a lot of patience, but when you do finally get it, it's fantastic. Suddenly you're in control, and just the sensation of gliding along a smooth surface, be it freshly laid asphalt or the surface at a roller rink, it's fantastic. I don't know how else to explain it. Idealistically, I would like to be able to skate for as long as I'm alive. There is something comforting about knowing that I have my skates with me, and if I ever get the urge, I can just slap them on and kind of pick up where I left off. But if I'm no longer able to do that, I think I'll be devastated. I guess it's kind of like when, you hear about people that take pride in their work and have been working working all their life, and then suddenly they're told, oh, you have to retire. And there's this sort of bewilderment with your, what do I do with myself? How am I, what am I to do now? And I think that's something that I'll feel if that day ever comes when, a doctor or whoever tells me you can no longer skate.
Nice. Didn't kill him.
Yeah. Do you know how old Tony Hawk is? I don't know how old Tony Hawk is, but I saw an Instagram video of him yesterday, and I gotta say he's at least, after his 40s, and I saw him get 20 feet of air out of a skateboard bowl, and he's still cruising, it's mellow, all good, no problems. I'm not even close to as good as he, I'll never be as good as he is, but, if I can still ride a skateboard, I probably will. Definitely as life pushes on and responsibilities, take action, happen, then, you can dedicate less time to it. But, I would take a skateboard over a bike any day.
No.